Hey everyone, welcome back to another video, and today we are continuing Minecraft Pocket Edition. As you can tell, a lot of chaos happened, so let's get into it. I was continuing my quest for a cave when I found a jungle biome, so I decided to get some jungle wood because I love jungle wood. And so I made some wooden planks because I was running out of fuel. And I needed fuel, and we didn't have a cave nearby. And so we used that to make a crafting table, because I left my crafting table at my house, and we were looking for a cave. At this point, I was starting to notice that my spawn point was really terrible, so I got a boat because we were going to be venturing out from the spawn point, and we needed a boat. With my boat in hand, I decided to destroy my crafting table so I could take it with me. And then I saw the treacherous ocean ahead. It was going to be a long journey from here on out. As I put my boat down, I noticed that it was really dark. With no other options but to trek on, I started to ride my boat. After dying and not knowing where to go, after I lost all my things, I went back to my house. It did not record me taming a horse, but I did tame a horse. So I went back to my little starter home and went to go look for some seeds, because we were going to make a farm. But at first, we were going to have to sleep because it was nighttime. In the morning, I started my new farm, which had pumpkins, watermelons, and wheat, because that is all I had. I had found enough iron to make a bucket, so I was able to get some water for the farm. We also got some iron tools, as I show right here. We got an iron pickaxe and an iron axe, but I, for some reason, wasn't using it here. And we also put torches so mobs wouldn't spawn. And that is very crucial to planting a farm, because you don't want mobs to be around where you are eating, so there's that. I randomly found a lead as I was cave dwelling, but for some reason it didn't record, so there's that. Okay, at this nighttime, I came out to find that the sun was setting, so we had to go and sleep. In the morning, I decided I would venture out to a cave, because if you can tell, we have little to no iron, and we need to be able to get full iron armor by the time we go to the nether. So that's what we need to do. So after taking a look at my current supply, I decided I needed to go out for more iron and more copper and such. So I took my iron sword and ventured near the jungle. Let me know what we can name this horse, by the way, because I'm thinking Black Beauty, but I'm not sure. So I took my iron sword and ventured near the way of the farm. And I saw an ocelot. I really wanted to tame it, but I did not have any fish. So I trekked on, and we went near the jungle. I found some cocoa beans and decided I was probably going to plant some of those. So I took some on our journey. Now, there are things that we can craft to help us with our inventory, which are called bundles. They are new things, I believe, and I really want to make one next episode. So that's going to be the goal next episode. So, after showing that you can get the cocoa beans, I took my iron pickaxe and decided we needed to look for a cave. The best way to go for that was to go near the direction of the stone. But since there was nothing but water near that way, we needed to get our boat out. So I took my boat and put it in my hotbar, because that was the best way to get my boat out really quickly. On the way to the ocean, I noticed that there was some coal, so I got it. and I noticed there was a big chunk of coal. And so we didn't have to use oak logs for fuel anymore. While I was mining it, I thought maybe there was another way to go to the ocean. And so I continued to mine, getting the last piece of coal up. After that, I trekked back to the beach after I had died, and it did not record. So back to the ocean it was, to everybody's dismay. And so I drove my boat pretty far out until I hit a pretty small island, or so I thought, until I came closer and saw that it was a pretty big plains biome. So I got out of my boat and immediately hit it with my sword so I could keep it. Finally, after the longest time, I was out of the ocean, or at least I thought. And so I kept walking, hopefully looking for a cave, and all I saw were chickens and oak wood, unfortunately. Apparently, I was coming across the island's end because there was water, but luckily, there was another desert part that slowly connected the island, and that's when I saw turtles. That was another thing that I had never experienced in Minecraft before, so that was cute. Hopefully in another episode we will go and try to find some turtles. Maybe we found a cave right here. Nope, it was just another hole. Even so, I thought I could go in there, but unfortunately it was one of those water caves, which is a new thing. But we couldn't go into any water caves without having water breathing potions, so I had to leave it. As I trekked on, I noticed some suspicious little holes in the sand. I was a little wondering about that. But alas, I trekked on, only to see more land as I went on. So luckily, I went all the way to the end of the island. It was becoming very clear that it was not as big of an island as I thought it was. And it was as small as I originally thought. But I needed to kill some cows, so I did get some cow meat. Not wanting to give up my quest for the cave, I kept going. And then this sheep, at least I thought it was a sheep, but looking back, it was probably a pig. So I went on the beach and saw again more of these holes. I was still wondering about that. But it was looking like this island was a dead end. So I got my boat out and I decided to drive my boat some more. And then I noticed that there was something in the sand. It looked like it was a shipwreck, but it was on land. I was very suspicious about this at first, and so I got out my iron sword just in case any bad mobs were there. As I approached the shipwreck, it looked like it was one of those reoccurring structures. So I looked around for an entrance, and there seemed to be no entrance. And usually these things were in water, so it was weird to see one on land. Luckily, I was excited about this structure because it was a new structure, and so I wanted to be clear of my inventory in case there were chests. So I used some cobblestone to get up to the shipwreck. But then I went in the door, because there was a door. But as I was looking, there was very much nothing. The only thing that was in there was wood, which was weird, because normally they had chests in them. I looked for another way out in case there were other places that had chests, and I was soon to no avail, found out there was not really anything in here. Either that or I was dumb. Probably the latter. But I got up to the top of the shipwreck to see if there were any chests up above, and to no avail, there was nothing. Weird. Usually shipwrecks had chests. Or at least I thought they did. After taking 1/2 of a heart of damage, I noticed it was getting really, really dark. And hoping this was a cave, I devil downed into the hole next to it. I had done a little bit of research about shipwrecks before I had played, and it said there were buried treasure maps next to them. And so I thought there was buried treasure next to it. So I got out a bunch of things. I usually got cobblestone because I was trying to get out of the hole, because it was obvious that nothing was down there. And so I very much struggled to get away from this place, but I decided it'd probably be a good idea to spend the night in the shipwreck. So I took my iron axe and got some of these planks so I could make a little house for the night. This was a stupid idea. Desperate to stay alive, I decided to use cobblestone to plug up the holes in this shipwreck and stay the night. I want suggestions for this series, so I want name suggestions, I want to make this a little bit of a community kind of place. But while you see stupid me plugging up this shipwreck for no reason, I will tell you what I want to do in this series. I want to build my own little town, and I really want to and have it be kind of community base. So the comments I will actually genuinely reply to, and I will try to make this a good series. Maybe there was chests in the bottom, I thought. And so I used my iron axe to go to the bottom of the shipwreck. Again, there was nothing. I was probably being stupid at this point. I was just scared that some mobs were gonna come and kill me, so I just hid out in the shipwreck for some reason. Until I finally decided maybe we should just get out of here. It's probably not a good idea to stay in a shipwreck when it's about to be nighttime. So finally, out of common sense, I decided to go boating again. I started to boat, and eventually I found what was known to be a cave. Finally, I had found a cave. Unfortunately, the problem with this cave is that it was a ravine, which means I needed to be super strong against mobs, and I was already failing. Desperate to get away from the mobs and not actually die, I decided maybe it was a good idea to have water with me. Knowing that spider was probably going to come for me, I decided maybe I should light up my way, and so I did. And decided maybe that I should go in the direction of the mobs, even though they would kill me. And so I decided to start hitting this zombie because he was in my way and I needed to kill him or I would die. So after getting hit by the skeleton a little bit beforehand, I decided to go down. And that was a very, very bad idea. There were skeletons and spiders and all sorts of things coming at me immediately. So I got out my iron sword and decided maybe I should start killing them. That was also a bad idea. I immediately died. And so I was back at my house with no direction of where I was, because this is Pocket Edition and you can't use coordinates in Pocket Edition, or at least I don't know how. I decided to maybe I should make one of those bundles. So I got out my string and tried to find the recipe for bundles. Luckily, it was just string and leather. However, my recipe was perfect for just one bundle, so that's what I got. I did pick up a little on the way, so I put some other things in my chest. And this is right before I go mining for extra things. Because I did eventually find a big cave that had, say, diamonds. Unfortunately, the part where I found the diamonds did not record. And so I did put some of my finds away right here. I put cocoa beans, just trying to figure out how the bundles worked. And then I noticed it was getting dark. And so I needed to sleep, but it didn't say it was dark, even though it was getting dark. So I decided to go back and try to find some more iron and coal and stuff. And I did eventually. But again, that did not record. And so I went in a different direction instead of going by the sea. And I saw this red structure. This was called a ruined structure. And so I looted from there, and then I eventually found what seemed to be a cave. And so I trekked near it. And yes, it was indeed a water cave. Unlikely to be able to fit there, I looked behind me and I saw a giant pool of lava raining down. This was very odd out of nowhere, so I knew I was probably near a ravine. And so I was. And so I decided to swim instead of using my boat for some reason near the lava and see if there was any iron or coal. This ended up being a huge ravine, and this is where I found the diamonds, as aforementioned. But, as everything goes, I probably died a million times, but I eventually made my way down to the cave. There were a bunch of zombies. They kept trying to kill me, and so I ate some melon slices as to regen my hearts just a little bit before I took on the last zombie. And more kept dropping down from the sky. This was at the exact moment that I found diamonds. But before I could mine the rest of those diamonds, I did die. So, unfortunately, this is the end of the video, guys. Like and subscribe for more. And, of course, give suggestions on what I should do next.